Alright folks, welcome to another War of Rights, third person. This is a Friday night pub brawl here. We are on Pry Ford. I've been wanting to cast a good Pry Ford, well, any probably full Pry Ford map is going to be a good one. And I hope that this one is. I am not going the right way. We're going back to take a look at the Union who, yeah, they should be crossing the ford here. And we're coming out into madness. We're looking at the Union battery right here. It looks fairly healthy. The CSA battery, I don't know, it looks a little light. I expect on Pry Ford that, you know, there's probably be a dozen guys. We're a little under 300. Both of the previous rounds went over 300, so I'm not worried that we're not going to get there. Plus, it's Pry Ford, and this is certainly a good one. So as long as the server can handle everything that people are throwing at it, I hope that this is a good one, and we should see. CSA 1, Nicodemus. Union 1 on Bloody Lane, or Sunken Lane, just a moment ago. Yes. These are... You can tell who's played Hell Let Loose and is now playing War of Rights, but you look like they're going to go with a right side push. These look like the regular infantry, i.e. the non-cav. Why do I not see the cav? Have they already gone out? Oh, were they extra sneaky? They might have been extra sneaky. Cav are quick like that. There, can usually tell by the fair number of gauntlets. I don't know. It just seems more prevalent with Cav. So they're gonna test the boundary over there.
How much are we gonna run?
And, a lot of times this side is viewed as the key to it all. So there's this rock outcropping here, and then where these guys are, if you can't quite tell, we'll try to get down to the level. They are in a sort of defilade. Well, over here the Union can't really get. There is the mound that is right here, and then the ground dips just a bit more, and it makes it very difficult to get to. Usually if the Union try to shoot it out, they'll lose the shootout. Even with the Sharps, they got to try to charge, and they got to come over a fair amount of open ground in order to do that. So we'll see if they're able to. I tend to view most of the movements on that side of the map as a bit of a sideshow to the main push, which is who wins over here. As with everything in War of Rights, there are exceptions, but I think it's a pretty good generality. Looked like that shot killed somebody. That shot it. You see the Union coming up here. This is a understrength company. It needs to pull back and not take a melee. Wonder if CSA Arty will make itself felt here. Not worth it. The tickets here are very much against the defenders. Who are the CSA? And here, what I think the CSA is trying to... Well, that was a very... Those were very ambitious shots. I don't know who shot those, but they had about a coin flip's chance of doing harm or good for their side. Alright, so the CSA have 3 flags in the vicinity to the one the Union brought in. So I'm not too surprised that that was the result. CSA do have 4 flags as a defender since they don't have the cap. So you see, got Company A, B, A, and B. And for the Union, 4th BA. So I'm guessing it's the 4th Pennsylvania that is the Cav. And so that can be tough, though it didn't stop the CSA from winning on Nicodemus, or when it does win on Nicodemus, when it has its own Cav company. But they also get to defend rather than have to attack, and attackers need to keep the pressure on, and so losing one flag when you only have 3 is a third of your flags. And what it would allow the CSA to do if they could reach the Union would be to concentrate 4 companies against 2, or 2 or 3 against 1, something like that, and those would all be losing battles for the Union. It's a good volley. Good looking volley. We'll see what idea we have up here. Maybe they're going to make a raid to Arty. Look for some skirmishing, look for some out of lines. Those Union guys got to run. I don't think it's going to be worth it to try to shoot. You are 2 out of the lines. I'm pretty sure you just shot and hit nothing. And now the mistake this CSA group will make is waiting there too long and getting charged out by a group they can't see, but we can. It's a bunch of Union thinking that CSA might come over and harass its artillery, and so they're going to skirmish to protect it. And this group has come up and shot off the CSA group that pushed up. So I think whatever ticket advantage the CSA got by coming up and killing some out of lines and skirmishing, they've probably lost in pulling back. And as the defenders, you can't do that. Okay, I think we're tailing along with the Cav here. I believe it sounds like sharps. Let's see, there's the CSA pretty much arrayed in a line. I've never really understood this shootout idea. It seems so far that the rate of ticket burn is just not really going to help the attackers. And not that anybody asked me, but I don't love the idea of volleying while on defense. Maybe if you cut the line in half and have each half alternate every 12 seconds, but you wouldn't want a bunch of companies to volley and then have the Union time their charge. And that's another reason why I just don't quite get the Union standing back there. You saw the hit from CSA Arty, and as good as Arty can be, those are easy shots. So. But you can see the places where the defilade is not working, probably because I don't know if they're in it. The defilade it's more nuanced. It's down here, and it's one of those rare places where you can actually probably take a knee. Probably even get away with like a wedge formation to try to keep everybody down in here, or at least the tails of the wedge further back. but that way everybody could still shoot forward. And then that rock is fine. I mean... See, that was just 2 CSA companies that shot. And I think they were the 2 big ones, and these 2 other ones here are a bit on the small side. Take a quick look at arty numbers. So it's 9 for the CSA. And 14 for the Union. And the Union's already down by 8. So what did I just say? 14 minus 5. So I think that means the Union might have like a 13-man infantry disadvantage. And that just makes it hard for these charges to stick. Another fine looking and sounding volley. You can tell they're almost on the cadence. So if you're an enemy officer, like if you were a Union officer, and you heard that and you knew you had to press, you might want to know that these companies are volleying it about as fast as they can, and they're going to do it in close succession. Let's go take a view from CSA arty. Well, it seems a little quiet. How far up is the CSA? Up fairly far, but actually not super far for this map. So at least the one CSA gun here, I guess they really had to fire that thing. They're on counterbat. Yeah, the Union's not that far behind. One thing CSA arty can do is shoot up that fence over the course of a battle. I don't know if this is going to be a Union raid here on the CSA arty. Again, all the CSA really have to do is run away. Yeah, you can see they're up here with the sharps, and maybe they're just frustrated and tired. And the solution is, if you can keep a gun free, just always have one loaded with double canister. And the people who harass you tend to rethink it, mostly because they realize that you were waiting for it, and they find that disconcerting.
You can also do Q.
It's a good-looking skirmish line. CSA's got to be careful not overreact to that right side movement. I think many more of them are in the open than need to be. And really this right side, none of them are actually dealing with the Union who are right there. They could cut that cab unit off, wipe its flags, kill a bunch of out of formation guys. Oh, all right. This group was taking care of the Sharps boys. All right. Then they didn't have to be. I don't know about this, man. It always seems like this left side is what matters. And now that's a fat company and a small company. I think the Union has a chance to take this left side. They're right, CSA left.
We're praying.
Yeah, from this angle you can kind of see how this hill here is a bit higher than the... But this is the defilade. Yep. And it's one of those spots where you can usually kneel in a lot of places in that defilade, and you should largely be covered. Alright, so they're going to come out of it.
Alright guys, spread it out. Take aim, boys, once you're on the sign, quickly, take aim at that fence. This is the volley, guys. Take aim at that fence where they've been shooting us.
You can see there wasn't that much cover up here. That is a very small CSA group. It's now moving back to the left. And CSA has invested quite a bit in that right side. I don't know if they thought the cav was still over there or what. But the window for the Union to make a push on their right is shutting. We'll go back to the Union perspective because we spent some time over here on CSA, and a lot of it's lateral movement. Kind of reminds me of basketball practice. So. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's a little old. All right, so Cav's gonna try its luck again. I think the CSA would, if you're gonna devote anything, do what you do where you had a small group shooting at their small group. But remember, the Cav are a nuisance. The arty guys can protect themselves, or they can mitigate it. And it's far more important to play for time than it is to worry about attacking the attackers. You see the Union's getting built up over here.
Let's kill those goddamn rebels.
know if the Union wants to charge, if they're just moving up. And I think the CSA sent that smaller group to deal with that cav group. That looked like a shot from Union arty. Yeah, the Union's bringing this back. And you can see them falling in and around that defilade as it starts to curve up. I don't know if that's why they're moving or if they're moving just for the volley, but this is a hot shootout, and I think the Union is pulling the tickets back toward even. Looks like the Union arty is now repaying the CSA arty in kind for the counter bit it did earlier. I cannot tell the health of this one Union company, the one nearest to us. They're okay. Alright, they're okay. Alright, I mean there were some casualties on that volley. It's an okay burn rate. It's tough to tell if they'll get the CSA into taking losses at 17 minutes, but I think it'll be close. I guess the Union wanted to get healthy before they could do that. Alright. Wow. I don't know how many guns did that, but that was impressive. Maybe 2 shots simultaneously? A small war far over there. Can't tell who's left. Looks like one Union company here is thinking about it. The other one looks healthy enough it could make its push. Yeah, so both sides are about to go taking losses. Union might go first. But with the tickets advantage they have, if the CSA keeps taking these fights, they're going to go last stand before the Union goes final push. But you have 3 flags. working against 2. And then the 1v1 over here that I think is largely succeeded in pushing the cav back and mitigating a lot of that harassing fire they were putting on CSA arty. But I think the Union's in a pretty strong position, all things considered. Yeah, if this group can get away with this, that should be very powerful enfilade fire on that Union line. The Union doesn't move to correct its line. Let's just see if it's as good as we think. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good angle. The hill rolls in such a way that it could help. Whoever that young cavalryman was did not understand the formation system, the ticket system. And now the Union's kind of all clumped in this corner, which if you're arty, you want to see massed infantry. And yeah, I think that far Union company has the right idea. It's time to get healthy and come back when you have maximum firepower. There's the cav unit.
Move it out, you better move it out, boy.
Guess they felt they had to get a little healthier. I don't know about this, man. I mean, I'm all for occasionally playing for the late game move, but it only had to come from there. This thing should have been up by 35 minutes. We got 15 minutes left. But yeah, this is yeah, it's actually straight out of Casey and Hardy and Scott. Ah, and to make things even more interesting, we're gonna add some rain to it. You should take advantage and go for the melee while everyone's powder's wet, but I don't think that's going to happen. This group says it wants to move left. I'm not sure why it was doing so well on that right. Largely because the CSA was taking the fight straight up. I'm not sure if this is a wet noodle contest or what. If these guys are just missing their shots and the sharps are just plinking other stuff. think that might have been a CSA arty guy who just Rambo'd out. That's not good. And so while the Union was drawing it close earlier, I don't know why they've they weren't exactly even, but they almost went taking loss at the same time. But now the Union, who has more tickets, has managed to find itself further behind in relative terms. They always have the advantage that once the defender goes breaking, they can cap and win, but I don't know if the infantry gap that we talked about earlier persists. I'd expect the CSA to win those fights over cap, but we will see. Cav haven't really been able to use their pistols in this one, as they've been off over here. That's okay, the sharps are important, but when they do charge, those pistols are very handy as part of the cleanup crew. They should not be the first ones in, they should be the last ones in, along with some officers, maybe even a really attentive arty officer, and empty those revolvers into the end of those combats, rather than going in first when all the CSA have their loads and getting killed before they can shoot anything. So this Union group has just, it's getting punished. Yeah, it's just, it's a rough time over here. When you got arty and 3 or 4 CSA companies shooting at you, that'll happen. Yeah, I like the independent fire, particularly on defense. It decreases the chances that you're going to get caught out without a volley to deal with a charge from the attacker. Yeah, the Union has 2 problems. One is the relative ticket problem. They're a half morale stage behind. The other, a far more serious one, I think, is that they have not taken down enough of the CSA's tickets. And they're in a real danger if they were to move to cap early. They may go final push, or last stand, I guess, in the counterattack. I don't know why. I thought the cav units were... 15 seems really small. I thought the cap was higher than that, but... I don't know. I rarely get to play cav in pubs. It's highly sought after. And I'm frequently doing other things like this. Well, we caught that at the right time. I wonder if that was 3 guns firing simultaneously.
Alive and well.
little hot.
America
Good.
stands.
That's right.
Red, white, blue, motherfucker.
The skirmishers are still skirmishing. It looks great. Oh, the CSA are really sending guys. Are they sending guys up or guys sending themselves? You're level 54, so you should know better. And you probably do. Is there really nobody on this gun? Oh my goodness. Yeah. You can. My goodness, what a blunder. And let me guess, you're new. Yep. You are not new. You're level 47. Are you throwing? Are you? What is up with these high levels that are just... Why? So the last time I raised this was actually on this map, and I was one of these guys down here, and I was just watching people spawn in and repeatedly Rambo charge the Union across this field. You would think that just like there are team damage warnings, maybe for players over a certain level, there ought to be an out of line or out of formation death warning. And eventually a kick. And eventually a ban. And the Union's making their push to cap here. It's kind of an empty threat, although by the time they get the cap up, it might be close to the breaking for the CSA. The Union's got to time this just right.
Right now, boys.
They might cap when the CSA goes breaking. So we need about 3/4 cap
They're gonna be pushing us off
of blue.
They don't want to get walked.
Well, the CSA has tickets to give. And so as long as the CSA doesn't get wiped, they should feel fine pushing. And I would try to push where the cav aren't so you can avoid those pistols. So that would be a push over there. That was canister, and you can see that's actually a really good example. Not of how to fire canister short, but it is that too. But look at that path canister takes when you fire it. Particularly, you can see it when you shoot from a higher elevation to a lower one. And that's why I recommend always aim high with canister. It's hard to aim too high with canister. But it is absolutely deadly if you get a true flank and even enfilade fire down onto an enemy unit with that. You just rip holes. Union doesn't even, well, it is gonna go final push soon. It is just absolutely falling apart here in the end. Remember, back at gauge to taking losses, the two sides virtually were tied. And somehow in the last two morale stages, the Union has fallen behind an entire morale stage. And with less than 4 minutes, it is very unlikely the Union's going to get the CSA to go last stand.
3 minutes left. That's nothing.
And the CSA has an additional flag, so they can spawn more people on the point. One thing I have not noticed being a factor, and I'm I'm not saying it hasn't. Well, the manpower imbalance probably has to do with how things have happened. Is that the Union, for its 16 guys in artillery, doesn't seem like they've done that much, whereas half that number in the CSA's artillery has had any number of great shots. And I understand one is easier to do than the other, but the solution to that problem is probably not put more guys in artillery. And it makes me wonder if the Union's chances on this map would just be improved if nobody went artillery. The CSA, I think it makes sense to stay on there and empty all those caissons. But for the Union, I'm not sure. But I tend to count the Union out early, and so if they somehow pull this off, and they seem to be searching for the end of this line, and I guess they're just going to hit it. Yeah, I thought that they were going to hit it right about here, but they keep getting shot. They're going to try to wrap this. I don't think there are enough of them. And got to stay on that left alt key. But I think that's going to be all she wrote. Chasing him back across the ford. That's... Alright, so that wasn't a CS. Those were Union guns. I think loaded with canister. That was CSA. Yeah, Union's nowhere to be found near a point. Whoop. Maybe they all left the point. This is one of the things sometimes CSA will do. They can get up to this fence, and so they'll just come up here and they'll make it theirs. And
Go out of bounds. Go out of bounds.
well, that's not necessary, but kind of for short periods of time when you got the tickets to do it, you can just keep the Union far enough away from point that they won't be able to cap it. It would be funny though. There's not enough cap, but some Union arty guys ramboed in the backside and capped the point. And they might actually just be YOLO charging. I'm pretty sure they're timing out and they just don't care. Alright, that sounds like that's it. We'll get the end of ground casualty figures and we'll call that a video.